Sal Lupoli, welcome to the show. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing outstanding, John. Thanks for inviting me over to the show. And Bear, always a pleasure to see you.
Good to see you again.
So, Sal, there's been a lot of discussion about your candidacy for the Chelmsford School Committee, and congratulations. I think anybody who sticks their neck out, it's something that's difficult to do, and I give you a lot of credit. So congratulations, first of all. But first, let me just ask you, why are you doing this? Why do you want to be a Chelmsford School Committee member?
You know, John, longtime resident of Chelmsford, 45 years, came up through the program, raised my children in Chelmsford, been a part of the town of Chelmsford for so many years, and I've watched a lot of things take place. And I got to tell you the truth, John, I've never been afraid to jump in and help and support my community, whether it was raising money for a turf field or raising money for a community center or wrestling rooms or fitness centers for the entire high school. I've never been afraid of it, and I never shied away from the responsibility. As you know, or maybe people don't know, I've been a Pop Warner coach for 10 years, but also been a high school football coach for 10 years simultaneously, John. I think that's really important because in doing all that, I was also the president of Pop Warner, but now this year will be my last year as president of Pop Warner. I'm looking for a new challenge, and reading all the turmoil in Chelmsford since October has really broke my heart a little bit, John, and I'm not very good at just, being one of those people that complain. I like to be active, and I like to be a part of it. So I got into the race because I want to make a difference. I'm passionate about kids. I like to mentor these young minds that come through Chelmsford, and I want to be a part of the process. And in order to be a part of the process, you have to be a leader, and I've always prided myself on being a leader. I think my resume speaks for itself. So seeing what's been taking place and knowing that one of the selectmen, one of the school committee members have stepped down, I decided to throw my hat in the ring, and I'm excited about it. I'm excited about working with the people that have asked me to get into the race also.
Well, excellent. And, I'm going to hit you right between the eyes with a very tough call. I don't know. We have this missing phone in the studio. I don't know. I don't know how it's ringing, where it's ringing, who's got it. But evidently it's somewhere in the studio, but we'll hopefully find it. And whoever's calling that phone number, quit calling. One of the things that have come out, and there's been a couple of rumors that I want to address with you, and I think that you can hit right here. One is that, you're only running to help or support or try to defend the current school administrator, Frank Tiano, and the current school superintendent. Tell me, is that true, or what are your thoughts on that?
John, I'm glad you asked that question. That is a great question. First of all, let's start off with this. I know Frank Tiano. I know he's a wonderful family man. I know he's been dedicated to the town of Chelmsford for many years, assistant superintendent, now superintendent. We know his resume speaks volumes. He's a doctor in understanding what school is all about and education is all about. But I have to tell you the truth. I'm very, very disappointed. That's why I jumped into the race. I did not jump in the race to support anybody. I did not jump in the race to secure anybody's jobs. I did not jump into the race because to follow some agenda from anybody else that's on the board. I jumped in the race because I'm a leader, John, and I look at myself like that. And I'll tell you what, I'm very, very disappointed in the way things are going. And now, being at the school committee meeting last night, and now we're talking about DOR coming in and looking at the way we run our finances and maybe try to consolidate some of the
practices. Yeah, because the school committee and the Board of Selectmen are seeking a review of school and town financial operations from the Department of Revenue. I don't think that bodes well for Frank Tiano's leadership ability at this point. I mean, I preface that with, I'm sure he's done some wonderful things for the town, but something's gone bad over the last year or so, and this is not a good sign for his.
It's not a good sign, John. It's not a good sign when you're the captain of the ship and the ship starts to have problems, you have to be held accountable for it. And right now, Frank Tiano's the captain of the ship, and he needs to be held accountable for what's going on today. When we're talking about DOR, we're talking about, almost $900,000 in a deficit. We have some serious problems in Chelmsford right now. I think what upsets me the most, and I think it upsets every resident in the town of Chelmsford right now, is really the reputation that Chelmsford has right now. You know, I was at a meeting the other day, John, and I spoke to 3 people, and 3 people had a different idea of what was going on with the school committee and what was going on with the budget crisis in Chelmsford right now. And when you talk to real estate agents, and I've spoken to a few of them, and they tell me people are actually moving to Westford because they perceive that the education is better in Westford than in Chelmsford. Well, then that's a problem because perception is everything.
Yep.
And our kids, our town, has a long history of success. And I just want to continue that success in Chelmsford. I don't want our kids to have good jobs, John. I want our kids to have great careers, and that's how I feel. And that's why I'm in this race, John.
Yeah, you're right. Chelmsford, for decades, has had a reputation of not only being one of the best educational places to get an education in Massachusetts, but probably the country. So I hear you on that. We're going to ask Sal some tougher questions and ask him his vision in a little bit. Sal, I want to back to your question. You know, I think you've pretty much really hit home the fact that you know you're upset about what's going on. You've addressed the question relative to Frank Tiano, I think, pretty directly. And the next say rumor that's out there, and you know, and I think it's important because you're not afraid to back down any question. Is one of the things that people have been talking about is that somehow, and I don't know how these things start, but Nick DeSilvio's leaving. He's had an agenda through the years. He's spent a lot of time on the Chelmsford School Committee. He has a particular style. There are people who obviously aren't proponents of Sal Lupoli in the community saying that you're just going to fill or support or carry on Nick DeSilvio's agenda as a school committee member. What do you have to say about that?
John, I realize being a member of the school committee means teamwork. You know, and if we talk about teamwork, you have to talk about leadership. John, I've never been very good at towing the line or following someone's beliefs, even though I didn't feel that way. I appreciate whatever the school committee has to say. As a matter of fact, I spoke to several of the school committee members. I liked some of the things they say, and some of the things I strongly disagree with. Nobody asked me to go onto the school committee. There was no school committee members that urged me to go on. Nobody has asked me to follow an agenda, nor would I. I'm going to follow the agenda of what's best for these children. You know, I just think it's amazing that what we should be talking about all the time is exactly what the town of Chelmsford School Committee and the education component needs. It's leadership, John. And, you know, we have to have transparency. We have to have leadership. We have to have communication. Because, you know, John, if we don't educate the taxpayers of tomorrow, you won't have any taxpayers for tomorrow. So what do I mean by that, John? We're not getting the message out. But the message is clear for me, John. I have nobody's agenda in mind other than what's best for the kids. And what's best for the kids is going to come first, because I think there's some people that maybe have forgot that who is the customer here? It's the parents, it's the kids, it's the teachers, it's the administration.
Why would anybody run just to carry someone else's water? I mean, I just find that question so ludicrous. You know, you hear it. I've heard it when I ran. I've heard it with other candidates, Lowell, Chelmsford, that there's always someone to carry someone else's water. Why would you go and spend months and months and months of your time running for an office just so you can carry someone else's water? I never understand that question. It aggravates me when people say it, and I'm glad you addressed it in that way.
You know, John, I started a company from scratch right out of college. I never worked for anybody else in my life. That company has been in existence now for over 25 years. We have over 500 employees. We're in 10% of the country. I'm the CEO of that company, have been and will be. And I don't think you can get to that point without having a great teamwork, that teamwork and those members being motivated, and more importantly, having the leadership skills. I will listen, John, but in the end, I want to lead. That's what I do.
I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
Well, yeah, we just realized we got like 2 minutes, George. Go ahead, before we take our first break.
He's going to need more than 2 minutes.
Oh, that's the first question.
No. Basically, what do you think of the idea of the funds being merged under the selectmen?
You know, George, there's a lot of things going on. I mean, look what happened today in the Lowell Sun. You know, they're talking about the DOR coming in and looking to see what best practices or best procedures can be merged with the town. And, you know, are there Are there opportunities to create better practices? I have to be honest with you, George. I got to get in there. You got to let me get in there, roll up my sleeves, and understand what's going on. I mean, George, there's closed-door sessions that the public doesn't understand what's going on. I still, to this day, don't understand what took place, how it took place, and why it took place. And like I said, George, the other day, I was in front of 3 different people, and all 3 of them had a different opinion of what's taking place in Chelmsford right now. So allow me to get in there, George. Allow me to roll up my sleeves, and I'll give you my opinion of what the best practices, in my opinion, should be.
Okay.
And I'll do that very quickly.
Now,
very quickly.
Have you asked for any emails, copies of emails that have been sent?
Well, I'll tell you what, George. I've been at the school committee meetings. I've been listening to Frank Antonelli. I've been reading the reports from the accounting firm. And there are a multitude of emails. There are over 3,000 pages that are out there that talk about what's going on over here or that should be read. And I have to be honest with you, that's quite a bit of information. And that alone tells me I'm very concerned. That alone tells me I should be concerned about this. So you're right, George. I'm going to be rolling up my sleeves. I'm going to be understanding the facts. I have a pretty good handle on what I hear so far, but still there's a lot more to understand because there's a lot of things that the public still doesn't know, and it's disappointing, George.
You have to go one more step, and you mentioned everybody that's involved, but don't forget the taxpayers.
They're number one, George.
Absolutely.
You know what is not going to be held out there as a carrot is I just can't believe that there are some people out there talking about, well, why don't we just raise taxes to cover the shortfall? Raise taxes on the elderly. Raise taxes on the working people. That's not going to happen on my watch, George.
Well, with that said, we're going to talk about that and a whole lot more. You heard it here. We're not going to raise taxes on the elderly. We're not going to do, we're not going to just do these crazy things, these knee-jerk reactions. I got Sal, the other big thing that people have been commenting on and find in total disbelief because they don't know you very well. There are very few people like myself that have had opportunity to be around you for a decade, either working with you on a project or working for you for 7 years, that understand how you work and the type of hours that you put in. The question that people have been bringing up on a frequent basis is that, look at this guy's got 40 retail locations, he's got 5 restaurants, he's got over 2 million square feet up there at Riverwalk Properties. He's got his hands in a lot of things. What makes me think that he's going to have any time for this school committee business? What do you say to that?
Because he has a passion. I'll answer it.
Because John, I have the leadership skills that I feel will allow me to roll up my sleeves and do what needs to get done over here. John, I think that's a great question because I also want to answer it this way, too. Not a lot of people know this, but for the past 10 years, I've stopped in the middle of the day at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, gone over to the high school, and coached our kids on the field and helped mentor those young adults on our field till 6 o'clock at night. And then 8 years ago, I joined Papuana. And I used to go across the street at 6 o'clock at night and coach Papuana till 8:30 at night. So imagine from 2:30 to 8:30 every single day for 5 months, 4 to 5 months, going and coaching our kids. That's the level of commitment. You know why, John? Because I prioritize things. In life, when things are important, people prioritize. There is nothing more important to me right this second than the state of what's going on in Chelmsford in the public school systems. I mean, this is a thankless job, John.
Yep.
This is not a selectman. This is not a mayor. This is not a congressman. This is not a state senator. This is a school committee member. And to me, there's nothing more of a priority on my list than this job right now. So with all due respect for all the people that don't think I have time, well, I'm curious, for the past 10 years, do they realize what I've been doing for our community? And on top of everything, John, working really hard to raise funds. John, as you know, you were a part of that. We raised over $500,000 in less than 7 months to build the community fields.
Why? Because you had to.
You know why, John? Because it was a priority.
Absolutely. You had to do it.
Not just for our kids.
Yeah.
Because so many people look at this situation and maybe they think I'm all about athletics. This is not about athletics. When we raise the funds for this community to build a community center over at McCarthy, everybody uses that. The band uses it. Arts uses it.
Soccer, field hockey.
It's more than just sports.
You also the point where you guys are forming a team to rent out the field to professional athletic clubs for practice and do different things. You know, I mean, it's revenue generator.
It's a revenue generator, but more importantly, you go by McCarthy on any beautiful Sunday afternoon and you see the elderly or you see families walking around that. You've never seen that before, John. It was a dust bowl before. But look what it's done for our image. Look what it's done for our community. Because that's what it's about. It's not about sports. It's about all the kids having an equal experience and a great education.
Well, I don't know too many people that wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, start their work day, and end it probably at 10 or 11 at night. So that's how you have the time to do things. That's how and you allocate the time to do things. Go ahead,
John, the kids, I mean, they're a priority. People say, do you have time? What person doesn't have time to make sure our kids, the future of our kids, have great careers, not just good jobs? That is a priority in everybody that lives in Chelmsford that has a family. That would be their priority. It's just a question of, can they allocate the time? I've stepped up. I can, John.
Ray, you're waiting on the phone. Welcome to the J-Mac and the Bear program.
Hey, Sal. Hey, Mac.
Hey, Ray. How you doing, pal?
Good. Everything that Sal has said is true. Even I can verify that. He's on the field at 2 o'clock, and he leaves, and then he goes over to park and he coaches over there.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to be a great member of that school committee.
No, I we both know the work ethic and commitment that Sal has put into this, and I try to caution myself here as I'm interviewing him. I've known him so long, I come across like I'm pushing this, but it's hard not to be enthusiastic about someone that how they go about their business, and I know you feel the same way, Ray, having watched him all these years.
Oh yeah, people can say whatever they want. I mean, but he's the real deal. He's been a friend of mine for years.
I have been, Ray.
He's a great businessman. He's a great friend. I mean, it's nice to have a nice friend like him.
Yeah,
he's a helper. He's a hard worker. After everything, you ask Sal what's happened to me. I mean, I moved here from Nashua, and my father had an accident, and the coaches didn't say anything. They kept everything in house.
Right.
I mean, we're all friends.
Yep.
But they helped me through a bad time, and Sal will tell you. I mean, that's the type of guy Sal is.
Yep, absolutely.
I'd like to add something to this.
Go ahead.
You have to understand, John, that in following Sal's career, I think Sal has many facets, and one of them has to be for the town of Chelmsford, especially for economic development. A strong school committee and a strong school committee person will help the community a great deal by bringing in people that are going to be influenced by the high schools and the schools that we have. And the improvements that have been made over the last couple of years, I remember playing in where the city town hall is, in the back there. And that used to be a baseball field, a football field, and God only knows what else. And that used to turn into a mud bowl.
That's right, Joe. That's exactly right.
So, Sal has improved the quality of life, the economic development that this, I think, will bring to the entire town of Chelmsford is to his credit. And I hope that he continues and he doesn't get too tired.
Well, you know what, George?
Well, hold on. We still got Ray on the line. So Ray,
that's the type of guy he is. He's a hard worker.
Absolutely.
From morning till night.
Yep. Hey, Ray, let me ask you a question. Did you say hello to your brother Jack for me?
Yes, I did. I talked to him a little while ago.
All right. Excellent. Well, we appreciate the call, and you have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye, Sal.
Bye, Ray. Thank you very much. And, George, just to your point about economic development, I've heard also this. Why don't we just cut some programs? And why don't we only cut them for a couple of years? And you know what my answer to that is, George? It's very simple. You're not cutting a program for only a couple of years. Because the child that year, when you cut that program, you're actually cutting that program for life for that kid.
Yeah.
So does that sound fair to you, George? Because it doesn't sound fair to me.
It doesn't sound fair to me either.
You want to know something else absurd I heard the other day, which really bothers me, because I know if I'm hearing it, it's floating around, because I periodically talk to people in Chelmsford. Is that somehow Sal Lupoli's been paid to be a coach over the last paid to be Sal?
John,
that's a volunteer position.
John,
Can we eliminate that rumor?
So I know I don't disagree with you. So let me just tell you, for the past 10 years, I've been coaching football for Chelmsford High School, and never once did I receive one quarter. As a matter of fact, the athletic director told me he was doubling my pay. I was getting 0. Now I'm getting 0 times 2. So having said that, I will tell you this: out of all the times that I've been coaching for Chelmsford High School, it's actually I donate food and I donate services throughout the year to our kids because that's the right thing to do. But more importantly, never a quarter for high school football, for any fundraising programs that I put together. And more importantly, the most important, John, is that I want people to understand that this is not about a self-serving receiving money or anything like that. It's about the kids. It's about leadership. And it's about my record, John. This is not just somebody who volunteers his time and comes a couple of days a week. I can tell you what, John, you in 10 years count up the days that I've missed practice that I couldn't go, and I'll tell you what, you're going to be able to do that on both hands, John, and that's it. Yep. Because I don't miss practice, because by missing practice, I miss an opportunity to mentor our kids, and that's the way I feel.
Well, I think that's great, and we have another person on the phone, and I believe he's a Chelmsford selectman.
Oh, Matt.
Matt Hanson, welcome to the J. Mac and the Bear program.
Gentlemen, how are you?
I'm well. How are you, sir? How you doing?
All right. Oh, can you still hear me?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, very good. I just wanted to say hello and just say I did work with Sal on the turf field committees, and that was quite a big task, raising $500,000. And there were times along the way where people questioned if we'd be able to do it, and we'd always go back to Sal and say, "Geez, this is so hard. This is a lot of work." And he was always there, and he said, "You put your faith in me. I said we're going to make it happen. I know we're going to make it happen." It took a lot of effort from a lot of people. But
he said that to you? He was that kind to you, Matt?
And these fields would not be possible without him. And I just wanted to thank him again on air. It was very much appreciated. And, I know some people, you were talking about the not having time, but he put in a lot of time and effort to help make that happen and raise a lot of money for the town and for our kids and for our schools. So I've seen him put in the effort in Chelmsford.
Well, great, Matt, and it's nice to hear that he was so kind to you guys when you were complaining, because all he would ever tell us is that we're working with him and for him and beside him was put your head down and move forward.
Matt, that's very kind. Thank you, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, best of luck. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I just wanted to call in and say thank you again.
Wow, very nice, Matt. Thanks for the call.
You're welcome. Have a
All right, great. Well, that was Matt Hanson, Chelmsford selectman. He's been in the town of Chelmsford doing a good job, and we have another caller Sue. Oh no, Sue just hung up. No more Sue.
I think we have to really go back to the fields.
Yep.
Because the fields are a very intricate part of Chelmsford and the economic development of Chelmsford. When somebody comes into a new area, the one thing, if they have youngsters, the one thing they look at is the educational institutions. And Sal is a good example, and I saw his leadership at a little bit of a...
Some time ago,
as far as the planning board is concerned. And even though we didn't agree on everything, he certainly did a wonderful job in pulling people together and going forward to bring these fields to fruition. I'm so happy that these fields have really materialized, and the income that would be derived by outside people renting the fields as well would be a big asset to the town of Chelmsford.
Wow, very good.
George, I want to speak specifically to that point you're making right now. When you talk about revenue generators.
Yeah.
Now, everybody was very much concerned that this would be a tax on the town of Chelmsford, even though it improved 2 wonderful facilities for the entire community. Not just our kids were the most important asset that we have in our community, but just to let you know, for a fact, George, within the first year, we turned a profit in renting out the fields. We paid our bond, and we turned a profit, which is exactly what our athletic director, which is exactly what our town manager, which is exactly what I said from the very beginning. These fields will be a benefit and a profit center. Now, last time I looked, George, making $10,000 or $15,000 in profit, that sounds pretty good to me. And if we could take $10,000 or $15,000, and that could be the difference of saving a teacher or saving one of the administrators in our curriculum or saving a program, well, then I'm all for it. And that's what those fields are doing right now.
Well, that's to your credit.
Absolutely.
And it should be put on your side of the docket.
I want to change the tone a little bit here for a moment and recognize the fact that I've been handed, as you have, George, a slice of heaven. The Sal Lupoli story. So we have what looks like a children's book. It's a coloring book, correct, Sal?
Yes, it is, John.
And it tells the story about you and whatnot. And I would like to mention, only because of because I think it's awesome, is that you thank a lot of people in the back, and my name's circled. So I like that.
You're a big part of the journey, John.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
That book I give out to kids as I go into schools, because I talk to a lot of schools. I love to talk to a lot of institutions, and I give out that book to the children because it's a true story, John. It's a true story of a wonderful journey, but more importantly, it's a true story of how when a family came together, great things happen. And what can you do for a community when great things happen? And I think my record speaks for itself, John. To that point, I was raised in Chelmsford. Many years ago, when my first daughter, Mary, who is a senior today, going to Bentley, by the way, congratulations, Mary.
Oh, congratulations, Mary.
Having said that, many people said to me, well, Sal, you work hard, you allowed to reap your rewards. What private school are you sending Mary to? And then when Sal came along, what private school are you going to send Sal to? And I'm proud to tell everybody in Chelmsford that I'm asking for their vote today, my kids go to the private school system. It's called Chelmsford High School. That's the private schools they go to, because my school system in my town is just as good as anywhere else I see. And my kids are getting a well-rounded education culturally and from an education perspective. So I'm proud to tell you, John, I'm a product of Chelmsford High School. My children are a product of Chelmsford High School, and my family comes from Chelmsford.
Well, I think that's great, but I'm going to go back to the book for a second, because as I'm thumbing through this, and it is a coloring book, the likenesses with some of these people, other than yourself, are uncanny. I think Katie is nailed.
A lot of weight.
Katie is nailed. I mean, she looks absolutely stunning for a cartoon character, and some of the other people are very, very recognizable. I'm kidding. You look great in it as well. But it is really, really a nice book, and this is something you give away when you go. Do you give it away occasionally at the restaurant as well?
Well, I'll tell you what, John. I give it away, and every time I have an opportunity to give that book away, I tell the people who I dedicated the book to. I dedicated it to my brother James, who passed away from leukemia in 2007, my father, who passed away from a blood clot in 2003, and my hero, my superhero, the wind beneath my wings, my mom, who passed away this past October. And I tell them about this journey. I dedicate the book to them. But I'll tell you what, Katie's the real rock star in that book. If Katie was running, this race would be over already.
You'd lose.
I mean, she's like, my wife is a rock star. She is unbelievable. I am the most blessed man on the planet.
Yep. And I'll say this, Sue is waiting on the phone. She's got a question for Sal. Welcome to the J. Mac and the Bear program.
Hi, Sal.
Yes.
I have a question. I'm just curious what your leadership qualities and how they will impact the benefit of the school committee.
Well, I think that's a great question. One of the leadership, I believe in leadership. I believe in every part of what that word means. Holding people accountable for the successes and failures, being passionate about the success of the business that they're partnering with, being focused on what the right thing to do within a business. Now, many people want to say that there's a clear distinction between the school committee and business, and I want to say, yes, there is, but there are those qualifications of being a leader that this school committee would thrive on. So I feel being able to step onto that board, ask tough questions, hold people accountable, hold agendas accountable, and not being afraid to reach out. Leadership comes in all fashions. So, and I know this. I know a big part of our budget depends on Chapter 70, depends with the state of Massachusetts. And I want to ask everybody right now, is everybody 100% sure we're getting our fair share from the state of Massachusetts? Can anybody guarantee me that we're getting our just amount in any reimbursements or the Chapter 70 money? And that's one of the things I want to do. Just the other day we had about 12 state senators in our real estate up in Lawrence, Massachusetts. And I'll tell you what, Half of them knew I was running for school committee. They congratulated me. They said it was very sincere that I was doing something like that. And then half of those people asked me this question. You ready for this? What's going on in Chelmsford over there with the school department? What's going over there with the budget? And so what I feel is being able to reach those state senators, those state reps, federal congressmen, women, Nikki Songas, or the local people, being able to say, hey, is Chelmsford getting our fair share? Because if not, I'm coming to Boston with my team, with the school committee, and we're going to shake some trees and see what falls out.
Sue, thanks for the call.
Thank you very much.
All right, we got Joe on the line. Welcome to the J. Mac and the Bear Show.
Joey, how you doing? Joe Espinola.
Hey, Joe Espinola. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. I've been trying to catch Sal every time he's on the line over there, and so I've met you a few times. I used to work for the Lawrence DPD. And I've been out there at all your projects with Dan McCarthy. Great things you've done out there. And I have to say, I don't know if you blazed the trail for the way that you did the fields out there, but it's a fantastic thing. And I've been around different fields. I'm a coach myself. I've been around different fields in the state, and I've seen and I've heard from the people that have had those fields done over, the income that comes in on it. It was a fantastic. That was your idea. Kudos to you.
And by the way, Joe, by the way, I think you're selling yourself short here. It's Joe Espinola, the school committee member of the Greater Lowell Technical High School. Right?
So that was actually the crux of my call, Sal. I've been a coach for most of my life. I was a public official as a police officer and worked with a lot of kids. When people ask why you run and why you do it, you know the reciprocation that you get from the kids and the family members and whatever, which is priceless. You can't imagine. And I can tell you this, I find that you'll be a fantastic school committee person. It's been overwhelmingly gratifying for me, more than I ever expected.
You know, Joe, I really appreciate that compliment, and you're absolutely right. I'm not afraid to go on bended knee in front of the entire Chelmsford residents when we were moving forward on the fields. And I'm not afraid to go on bended knee and say, please vote for this. I didn't say, please vote for this for Sal Lupoli or please vote for this for a district. I said, please vote for this for our kids. And I put my money where my mouth is. I step up in time. I look myself in the mirror all the time, Joe, and I'm not afraid to be vulnerable and share this with, I don't care who's listening, Joe. This is the way it is. I look myself in the mirror every day and I say, if not me, then who? If not now, then when? And that's why I'm doing this, Joe. But I will tell you, one of the best parts of the success of the fields wasn't Sal Lupoli, and I appreciate it. It was the communication between boards. And that's one of the things I want to talk about, Joe. I want, when I get in there to be school committee, I want to build a rapport with the other boards. Because when I spoke to the selectmen, when I spoke to the finance team, when I spoke to the planning board, and I spoke to zoning, and I spoke to all the other boards, especially the school committee, it was a coalition. Everybody was talking and moving in the same direction. That's why there was success in such a short time. And that's one of the things I want to do, Joe.
People are afraid of, and you have to have them.
Right, exactly. Well, Joe, we got some other callers, so I want to thank you for the call. Appreciate you
talking
to us.
Sal,
Thanks.
Good luck. And,
thanks,
John,
Joe. Spread the word, Joe. Vote for
Sal. He wish he could. Yeah, Joe Espinola is also an honorary board member of Veterans Assisting Veterans, and Joe will be joining me at 2 o'clock at the Lowell Sun, where there's going to be a quick ceremony. The Lowell Sun is going to be dedicating a POW MIA chair in conjunction with Veterans Assisting Veterans. So we're excited about that, and we'll see you there, Joe. We got real quick, before I take another call, Sal, tell us how people can get in touch with you relative to your campaign. What's the website? What's the phone number?
VoteSal.org, John. That's VoteSal.org. I have a Facebook page that's up there. I have a website. Both ways to connect with me. On those sites, you'll find even my home phone number, John, and I'll give it out right now. I'm in the book, but it's 978-250-0966. I don't care what your question is. If you're passionate about children, you want to make a difference in their lives, give me a call, because it's not about all the ideas that I have or the school committee has. It's about a vision that we all have. It's a shared vision with the entire community. So I'm looking to listen to everybody and what they have to say, young, the older generation, the younger generation, whoever it is, I want to hear it.
And also, the interesting thing that I would reiterate is that when, people who don't have kids in the school system often worry about kids that do have kids in the school system, worry about parents that do and candidates that do. And I think the most important thing that if I don't have a kid and I'm retired in the town of Chelmsford is that I heard we're not going to raise taxes to fix this problem. I thought that was interesting. Beverly, welcome to the J-Mac and the Bear program.
Oh, hi, John. Number one, I want to tell you how much I love your program.
Well, thank you.
Talk about really very interesting subjects, so I just want to put that aside for now. I do have a question for Sal.
Okay.
Sal, did you, were you at the Chelmsford High School in the summer of 1990?
1990.
Yeah, because my daughter had to go to summer school there, and I don't know if you were the man, but...
I was. You're going to laugh when I tell you this. When I was at Northeastern University getting my undergraduate degree, it was a co-op program, so you worked for 3 months on for 3 months, school for 3 months, off for 3 months. Having said that, I was a substitute teacher at Chelmsford High in about that time.
Well, I don't know if you remember her or not, but her name was Christina Natopoulos, and she died tragically in the fall after she had gone to summer school there.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, but I don't know if you're the man that she had, but listening to you, I wish I lived in Chelmsford so I could give you a vote, because you're a very caring person, and I know what you did for the hospital and at the Holy Family. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
And I just wish I'd vote for you, Sal, if I was there. But I was just wondering if that was you, because I really never knew who that man was. That whoever it was, he did call me when Christina died, and I really don't know who it was.
Wow. Well,
but it was the teacher that she had. I know that she had to go to summer school there.
Well, I very much appreciate that warm compliment. I was in substitute teaching at that time before I graduated from Northeastern University. I want to apologize for such a tragic event. It was not me, ma'am, who called you. Having said that, I deeply give you my regrets for that.
Well, Beverly, we appreciate the call, and now we'll get about another minute here to wrap up. And I want to thank Sal. Thank you for calling in. And by the way, Beverly, that was a $250,000 donation to Lawrence General on behalf of the Lupoli Family Foundation, I believe, right?
That's right, John. It went directly to the kids, once again.
The pediatrics unit.
The pediatrics unit.
Yeah, well, I think that's fantastic. Well, once again, give me your website address quick.
VoteSal.org, John.
Sal, thank you for calling in. I appreciate it. George, thank you as always. And most of all, thank you to our listeners who tune in week to week, 11 a.m. to noon time right here on Wednesdays to listen to J-Mac Bear. I'm John McDonald. You guys have a wonderful evening, and tune in tomorrow night for The Pulse from 6 to 7 p.m. Have a great night and a great afternoon. Bye-bye.